Hello and welcome, genties and ladlemen. It is in fact your boy, Sir Egward, and welcome to episode 26 of the Cracking the Shell podcast, where we go behind the scenes of all the blast beats and the monster noises of the Glasgow and wider Scottish and UK metal scenes. And in this episode, I'm very delighted to be joined by Dave Ingram of Benediction. How are you doing today, good sir?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just gone, and I've just opened my first beer of the day. So yeah, it's going good so far. So yeah,
Well, it's 5 o'clock in Eastern Europe and heading towards Asia and stuff, so it's fine. It's nothing to worry about at all. So, what we like to do before we talk about what you're doing now and everything that's to come in the future, because I know that there is some things in the works, is I like to just figure out how we got here, kind of hear the Dave Ingram origin story, if you will, just growing up, finding music, finding metal, your first bands, that kind of the pre
oh
stuff.
wow,
We're getting
yeah,
real deep right off the bat here, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, totally. Good grief. Well, it started for me. The music thing was I was 7 years old, and my sister was 11 at the time, so 4 years older than me, and she was listening to Black Sabbath, and I walked past her room one day, and I heard the opening riff to Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. It was that album, and that was it for me. And I asked her if I could borrow it, and I kept it. In fact, I've still got it in my collection. So yeah, and that was it. That opened the doors. Sabbath and Budgie, and then also the first 7-inch I bought was the Clash, Tommy Gun. That was the first 7-inch. So yeah, music was a big thing in our family at home. There was always music playing somewhere in one of the rooms. So yeah, that was really cool, and it was just metal that really took me to a different level, a different place. So that was my start. That's where it began. With, like I say, bands like Black Sabbath, definitely Black Sabbath, Budgie, and then later on it was Iron Maiden and Kiss and stuff like that on top as well. It's always been Black Sabbath though. And yeah, let's see, bands. You asked about early bands. I mean, I've always wanted to be a musician. I've always wanted to be in a band. And I can remember having conversations with my mother. She was saying, you've got to put the music to one side. And even my teachers at school, we put the music to one side and focus on a career. It's like, well, what if my career is music, you know? And it's sort of been half and half. And I could have gone in and been an accountant. I actually had a job working at an accounts office. And they said you could be an accountant. We could give you a company car, a huge pension, and you could have all your education paid for. And then Benediction came on the scene, and I was like, oh, right, I'll join them instead.
Yeah, it's not
Turned
that.
it down, and I've always, yeah, exactly. I didn't want to do anything else but music, and it's been like that all my life. I've never wanted a set career, really. I've done sort of service jobs and odd jobs and certain things, to keep me clothed and fed and stuff, put food on the table for my family. But yeah, I mean, I've never had a professional career, as it were, besides music. But am I professional? I don't know. Too much of a pisshead. But yeah, so that now first bands. There was one I was in. We kept changing our name. I think we eventually decided on the name Tall Buildings for some odd reason.
That's very
We were
bizarre.
sort of, yeah, you should have heard some of the other stuff. I'm not going to say what it was. That was the first band. We did sort of Beastie Boys covers because, we thought they were really heavy and stuff like that. So yeah, no. And that broke up because I was the bass player at the time, actually. That's what I originally started out doing, was playing bass. And then I joined a band called Plague HDC. HDC stood for Hippie Doomcore.
Heavy doomcore, I
So
love it.
no, hippie
Hippie.
Doomcore.
I thought it
Yeah,
was heavy. Hippie doomcore
no,
sounds great.
no,
I'd listen to that.
no. But we wanted to sound like Amoebics. That sort of off kilter style that Amoebics had. We didn't, but we were a lot better than that first band I spoke of. The Tall Buildings, we were better than them. We played a handful of shows. In fact, the first gig we ever played, my first live experience, was a Christmas festival in England, at the Barrel Organ in Birmingham, alongside bands such as Bolt Thrower, who headlined, Carcass, Doctor and the Crippins, Cerebral Fix, Deviated Instincts. We were on Axe Grinder played as well, and we opened. We played for like half an hour, and we went down, pretty well. It was our first gig. And what happened was, later in our career, the singer quit because he was moving. Well, he was going to travel around Europe, and while he was away, I was doing bass and vocals, and I could do one pretty okay, the bass, and I could do the vocals pretty good, but I couldn't do both at the same time. So eventually, I just thought I'm better at vocals than I am at bass. And then the whole Benediction thing came along. I joined them, and I sort of got rid of. I had about 6 or 7 bass guitars and a couple of electric guitars. I just got rid of them all because I didn't need them anymore. Which I kind of regret, because a couple of the bass guitars were Rickenbackers, and I really like a Rickenbacker bass. So
I do
I'm a
like
bit of a
Rickenbackers.
Lemmy.
They're just something so mystical about them, and they're
Yeah,
iconic. Like Lemmy especially. And I can see why people like Harley Flanagan from Cro-Mags play Rickenbackers. It's lovely instruments. If I was to actually pick up a bass, I would want it to be a Rickenbacker, I think.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I tried customizing it, and doing whatnot to it, but I wasn't particularly electronically minded. But yeah, they were good basses, nice and heavy. You could really beat the drummer to death with one. So.
If we're gonna beat up anybody, it's got to be the drummer, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So your early career takes off. You join Benediction. You do a few albums with them before you depart, and then you join Bolt Thrower for a little bit, and then like you have your time in Bolt Thrower, you leave that, and then around 2016, or was it 2006? Hold on, it was around 2019. It was announced that you had rejoined Benediction. What kind of started the kind of whole coming back to Benediction type thing? Who initiated it, and how did it go, really?
Yeah. Well, what I want to point out before I go to that is, after I left Bolt Thrower, because it was down to ill health. I had some serious mental health issues.
Hmm.
And that's why I left Bolt Thrower. And about a year or so later, I started doing a band here in Denmark called Downlord.
Hmm.
We recorded, we did 2 demos, which have been released on one sort of album length, I would guess, and then we did a full length album as well just after. And then we decided to stop doing that because we achieved all of our goals. Basically, we recorded, we toured, we were happy, we were done. And then me and a friend, the guitarist of that band, started some internet radio. We did metal breakfast radio for, well, it's still going, even though it's on hiatus at the moment. And we started that was 2008, and that's sort of worked all the way through. It's been on and off. And then I also did a big band jazz show as well, called Lambert's Basement. So I still dabbled in music, but I was sort of the other side of the microphone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, the kind of behind the scenes
occasionally
kind of thing. Yeah.
occasionally bands would sort of write and say, "Would you do guest vocals on this song?" It's like, yeah, sure. And I did that, and then, and I still do guest vocals. Bands can write to me and ask, and we'll sort something out. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But then I started doing in 2012. I started working with Roger Johansson. We did Down Among the Dead Men and Echelon together. And there was a bunch of other bands that he and I were working on together. Since then, Stygian Dark, we're doing that. I've got some other stuff coming out, and I work with other people. Hell, Frost and Fire, I've done that album, and we're doing another one as well. Let's see, there's Formaldehydist, which is like a joke band about drinking beer and stuff like that. That's something else with Roger, and Mass Horlu on vocals with me. The 2 of us singing these just really silly songs, but they're heavy. It's good stuff. It's just like tongue in cheek. And let's see what else. Good grief. I did Just Before Dawn for a year, and that was after I did a couple of shows with Hail of Bullets. So I'm busy. When I rejoined Benediction, people were like, "Welcome back." It's like, what do you mean, welcome back? I haven't fucking been anywhere.
Yeah.
Where the hell have you been? Right.
I know, eh?
For me, I would say the only time I've been away from music was for about a year after I left Bolt Thrower. And the rest of the time I was doing music, I was there. Just that it wasn't mainstream, it was underground. And I didn't mind it being underground. I liked it. You know, there was a lot less pressure on you as well. So,
Yeah, definitely. You
but
don't
anyway,
have as many eyes in you or anything like that. You don't
yeah,
have
yeah, exactly,
everybody going,
exactly.
"What's he doing? When's the next thing coming out?" Which
Mm,
is the kind of stuff I try and avoid with this series, I suppose, is all the standard questions that you get from journals everywhere, and we kind of keep it
mm.
lighthearted. But
Yeah, no, I don't mind. But it was, let's see, 20. It was 2018, late 2018, and Benediction contacted me. It was the bass player at the time, Dan Bate. Sorry, we had so many Dans in the band at one point, so I get confused. And I'm old, but yeah, Dan Bate contacted me and said, "Can you get in touch with Darren? Here's his number. He wants to talk to you." I wrote to Darren. We chatted a little while, and he said what it originally was that their vocalist at the time, Dave Hunt, was doing his PhD, and he needed time away from the band, and he couldn't do these bunches, about 6 or 7 shows. And they said, how would you like to come in and just do these shows while he's away? And I was like, that would be brilliant. It'd be a great thing for the fans, and a bit of a call back to the past. And then Dave Hunt decided he was going to leave because he really needed to focus on his doctorate and
Mhm.
his career, which is absolutely admirable. I like that
Definitely,
in him because he has really worked hard at that. It's not like it's just he's giving it up for something else.
yeah.
He's worked very fucking hard on that. So kudos to him. And anyway, then Darren wrote me again and said, "Do you want to join full time?" And I said to the family, and they were both sitting in the room listening to the conversation, both going, "Yeah, my wife and son." So yeah, it was a no-brainer, and that's how it came about. And it was sort of later in 2019 that I think about June or something like that, maybe July, that it was actually put out there. I'd actually been to England a couple of times to rehearse with the band,
Mhm.
and we'd started writing material for the new album, for the scriptures, at that time, even before it had been announced that I was back. And I think only one person guessed it, prior to the thing. And
Yeah,
I
prior to
was
the announcement, yeah.
prior to the announcement. Yeah, I'd been releasing a few sort of weird clues, like making posts on Facebook, and they were very vague book posts, as people say.
Yeah, I
But
know
yeah,
the
it
type,
was.
yeah.
And out of all those, only one person actually said, "You're rejoining Benediction, aren't you?" And I was like, "No, no." Because
No,
then
don't know
it
what
was
you're on about.
announced that Dave Hunt was leaving, and I put out in regards to Benediction, it's not me, and left it at that. And then sort of when the day came, it was like, "Haha, fooled you." Yeah,
I love that kind of stuff. I love when bands try and give like their fans guessing games with stuff like that, whether it's like somebody new coming in or somebody rejoining, or even just like for new material. It's like, what could this be? What could it be?
yeah,
And everyone's clamoring in the comments going, it's a new album, it's a new album, it's a new album. Just like, no, it's not. Next day, haha, yes, it is. Get your pre-orders in
yeah,
now. I do love
yeah.
that stuff. But that's actually mentioning scriptures. That's a nice segue to you have a bit of a catalog with Benediction already. Before we talk about scriptures, then obviously I know that there's something new in the works. Um, I'd quite like to can you hear your retrospective thoughts with all the albums that you've done previously, starting off with 1991's The Grand Leveler, which recently celebrated an anniversary the other day, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right, I did. Yeah, 33 years old. Oh, I wish I was 33 fucking years old too. Um, yeah, I can remember vividly the recording process and where we did it. It was this guy's house in Birmingham, down a little street. And he sort of converted the front room into a studio and soundproofed it. And I mean, when the band were playing along, you stood outside, you couldn't hear a damn thing. So no one knew that it was a studio there. And we did it there. And then Paul Johnson came in and sort of did a little bit of mixing there. And then he took it away to his studio and finished it off. Yeah, I totally remember it well. And I remember the one thing I do remember is when I finally got a copy of it through. It was the very first album I'd ever been on, and I took it home and I showed it to my mom, and I said, like, let's play it. And we listened to it the whole way through without saying a word. And then at the end of it, as I was taking it off the turntable, my mum said, "That was nice. Which one were you?"
That was nice.
And I was like,
That's nice.
yeah, yeah, those are her words. They're never forgotten it. And then I took a copy of the CD with me into my old school, um, and I went up to the theatre arts, the drama teacher, who had put on my report card the one year. David has absolutely no talent and will go nowhere in the entertainment industry, and gave me a C minus. So I went in and I rammed the CD case into his face and just said, "Fuck you," on the
I
way
love that.
before they kicked me out of the school.
That's incredible. And to be fair, that
I,
serves that teacher absolutely right. Fuck him. Fuck
I,
him. Mm. So we do the Grand Leveler, obviously do
Yeah,
the bad
what
thing of
came next? It
touring and
was
stuff.
Dark is the Season. Was next.
I think so. Hold on, I've got the.
Yeah, it was the EP came after that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I remember we did that, and I think was it the day we started. It was the day I think Freddie Mercury died.
Mm.
I think that was the day. Yes, it was. It was the day Freddie Mercury died. We started recording that day. Um, so we were pretty sort of downcast because he's iconic. Yeah. Um,
Definitely.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it sort of started on a bit of a downer, but we sort of pushed it up and we got through recording, and the acoustic part at the end was played by a friend of ours, and he did like 4 takes, I think, and just added a layer on top of one another,
Mm.
um, and we were totally blown away by that, and it sounded so good, and I just wish we could produce that live as well, but yeah, they get those two guitarists to pick up an acoustic.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
they're good lads. Um, but yeah, so that was Dark of the Season. Next was Transcend the Rubicon. Now that was yeah, but we had there's a lot that went on at that time. Stuff I can't really talk about.
Of course. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, well, I can't now, but at some point I am going to write my memoirs. So
Mm.
it'll all come out, but it's all good. So just some of it was a bit illegal, shall we say that? Right.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Don't do illegal things, kids.
but yeah, we were having a good time. Yeah, no, don't do illegal things. But yeah, we had a great time recording that album, and then getting Carl Willits and Jan Chris to come in, a guy called Mac as well, from a local band who's a friend of ours. Getting those 3 guys to come in and do some backing vocals on the Accused cover, Wrong Side of the Grave. It was just so much fun. We had a great day that day. So yeah, and overall, the sort of the writing of Transcend Rubicon, we knew we got something pretty good going on,
Mhm.
um, and we weren't sure how good at the time. And yeah, well, a lot of people say it's their favourite Benediction album, and other people are comparing it with Scriptures, um, which yeah, I really enjoy that. And there are a lot of callbacks on Scriptures to previous albums, and there will be on the new album as well. But we'll get more on that. You've got some questions on that, I'm not sure. But so after Transcend, what was next? Oh, it was the Grotesque EP. It was just 2 new songs and some live tracks.
Mhm. A little bit of a
And
tease of what's coming next.
no, the live tracks were sort of old numbers live. Yeah. So yeah, it was sort of quickly done because we'd done those songs and we rehearsed them almost to death. So we knew what we were doing. So we were in and out of the studio. And that was the one album release rather that had Paul Brooks. That was his name. Paul Brooks. It's the same name as Darren Brooks. But yeah, Paul Brooks on drums. It was the only release he did, and those were the live songs actually. Because not credited on there. The drums were by Ian Treacy on the 2 studio tracks. Well, I think they're credited to him, but it's not his photo on the album anyway.
Hmm.
But after that came The Dreams You Dread, with a slightly different style, not style, but sound, production. It was what was going on at the time, and I believe that Paul Johnson wanted to sort of keep in with the times. I like the production on that. I really do. Also, the timbre of the vocals, how it's done, and it helped me progress how I'm singing these days. So I really like that. And then came the last album that I did with the band before I left, Grind Bastard, which, good grief, that's like a double album in its own right, I would think, because there was so much music that we wrote for it that we wanted on it. And I remember a lot of the songs were written actually in this room. The lyrics were written in this very room because I was visiting my then girlfriend, who's now my wife. And this apartment used to belong to her mother, and I was staying with her and her mother. And then we bought this apartment and moved in. So yeah, so it was those most of those album songs were written here in this very room. So that's something I've just realised actually. But yeah, so we weren't actually all together for the writing of that album. I got sent a cassette of some demo tracks and wrote to those, and then sort of when I got back to England, tidied them up, and it was at that point that I was beginning to think I want to move to Denmark.
Hmm.
So it's going to be a problem with the band, and so eventually I quit, and I'm here, and I've been here for about 6-7 months, and then Balthar asked me did I want to join, so and that's the next part of the journey. So, but you asked about the Benediction album, so there they are.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool to hear a kind of a retrospective and such amazing material overall. And is there any of those releases that you thought that you're especially, if you could pick one to go, this is Benediction, is there a release that you're particularly proud of? And conversely, is there a release that you just wish you could throw in the bin? Nope, didn't happen. Don't know what you're on about.
There's no release I could throw away. I'm proud of every single one of them. If I wasn't proud of them, I wouldn't put them. I would have said no to them going out.
Mm.
So there's no way I could say, oh, that one's terrible, blah blah. No, but for a favourite, again, that's hard because I'm proud of every one of them. But I'm especially proud of the Grand Leveler because it was my first ever album release that I ever did. And I'm also very proud of Transcend the Rubicon because of the reaction it got at the time. And to this day, it's the same reaction that people have when if they're hearing it for the first time, or if they've been listening to it like a million times already. It's the same reaction. People still love it, and that makes me proud. And it makes me proud of that, of what we've achieved, what we did. And it's quite something to think about. And I try and explain it to my son. My son's 21. He doesn't listen to metal at all. I never pushed music onto him. I always said, take your own path with music. And he has the bands of music that he likes, but I won't discuss that here. But yeah, I try to explain it to him how things are, and I think he gets it. I think he sort of gets the fandom as it is.
Yeah.
He sort of understands it. And he saw it. He came to the gig. Him and my wife came to the Copenhagen show we played here in Copenhagen a few years back, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. He was like amazed at the response that we were getting. So, and so was I. So, but yeah. So there isn't an album I could sort of really say was my number one, but I'm very proud of those two. Grand Leveler and Transcend the Rubicon.
Yeah, I would be especially proud of them as well. They're they're stellar albums, and if anybody ever asks me, because obviously death metal is something that's most known for being from either Florida or from Sweden. But what a lot of people don't know is that if you do some digging, the UK has some stellar death metal releases beyond just Bolt Thrower or Carcass. Like you've got Benediction, prime example. You've got stuff like Cancer. Those first Cancer albums are fucking
Mm.
fantastic. Absolutely
As
brilliant
one I
albums.
should point out for you
Mm.
is the fourth album, but Harmonic Eruption by Napalm Death.
Yes.
I know they don't consider themselves death metal anymore, but that album is phenomenal. I
Oh, it
just
is.
recently rebought. I recently rebought the album because I had it and lost it years ago, and I just recently bought a re-release of it, and
Hmm.
it's fucking amazing. I love that album. That to me is proper Birmingham death metal,
I agree,
along with
100%.
Benediction, of course.
Well, of course, we
And
need to
both
toot our own
aren't
horn,
from
you know?
Birmingham, actually. They're from Coventry. So.
Yeah. I agree. It's an incredible album, and especially because of that Scott Burns mix. Anything that man
Yeah,
touches just turns to gold.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes they can be a bit sort of compressed, but
Hmm.
for that album, it really fucking worked.
Yeah.
It really worked. So I love that album. I remember seeing the very first song that they put out from it as a video, and it was on some TV show on a Saturday morning. I was
Yeah.
sitting around the Benediction, one of the Benediction guys' house, and their apartment, and it came on, and we were hungover as fuck, and we were like, "Holy shit! Did you see that?" And the people who we knew who lived above, they came down. They're like, "Did you see that Napalm Death? We're just on the telly." We were like, "Yep, we saw it." So, yeah,
Normally, when if neighbors come and knock on your door after something like that, it's usually to tell you to shut the fuck up. So it's good to see that
yeah,
even they're like, "Oh my God, Napalm Death's on the telly."
yeah, yeah. Well, we get that here actually because I do some vocal recording at home for my other smaller project, like
Mhm.
Down Among the Dead Men, Echelon, um, etc. And I do vocal recordings at home. Also, when I'm doing guest vocals for bands, I do it here at home. I don't rent a studio. So, yeah, the one neighbour who lives above uh, fucking hates me,
See, I would
which is
love
okay
to
because
have
I
neighbors like
fucking
that.
hate him as well.
Oh, well, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, what were we doing? Oh, yeah, did the album. So, what was
Yeah.
next?
This is where I kind of had an idea. So obviously after your extended break from Benediction, coming back into writing scriptures, did anything in particular feel different, or did you do anything different that you didn't do in your first tenure of the band in terms of, I suppose, writing, recording, that kind of thing with scriptures?
No, not really. The one thing I can uh, I do remember, and I still do it to this day. There's some of the lyrics that I wrote for in older songs. Um, to me, they don't make sense, so I've changed them when we perform them live. I change them, and it's to suit me now. It's not a huge thing. It's just like a line or two, and that's it. That's the only thing that I changed. Um, and there's nothing different. I mean, I'm still the same idiot that I was when I was 21. Um, just now, I'm an older idiot.
A
It's the
more
way I
wizened
look at
idiot,
things.
a more experienced idiot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. More experience. I wouldn't say wizened. I'd say more experience.
Getting more experience is the
Water
thing,
is
isn't it?
wet, fire is hot. And I've learned that.
Well, that's very good. Very
And
important
this
to
is
learn
wet
that.
as well.
Indeed. Virtual cheers. Not that I drink, but
Yeah.
it's can't even see it because I've got the bloody background up, but it's Iron Brew because of course it is. Because Scotland.
Of course it is.
Well,
Of
yeah.
course it
It's
is.
if you
Yeah,
live in this country and your blood isn't at least a third of this stuff, then what are you doing?
absolutely. I mean, it's pretty much the same for this. If you're drinking this,
Hmm.
but this is Carlsberg Classic or Tuborg Classic. Sorry.
Hmm.
Well, there is a distinction. Um, but yeah, it's not. I don't normally drink it at this time of the day. He says as he's trying to open the beer under the table, so not to upset the microphone. There we go.
Listen, don't worry
But
about it.
yeah. But there are days I sort of wake up in a park drinking Lambrusco out of an egg cup. Yeah, it's just like it's weird. Shit happens. But
Yeah,
yeah. So I
shit.
mean, how long have you been? If you don't mind me turning the tables and asking you a question, how long have you
Sure.
been doing this?
So I started this just about six-ish months ago, actually. It was my birthday at the beginning of May, and I thought, you know what? I should just do it. So I thought, what do I need to do it? I need a computer, I need a camera, I need a microphone, I need some recording editing software. So I found all that stuff on usually Amazon. Like this microphone that I've got here was, I think, 50 quid from Amazon. This
That's all right.
webcam is, I think, 20 quid. I don't actually remember. So I got that, and then it was just a case of finding people. I follow a lot of like musicians and local bands and stuff, which is how this originally started, was just to kind of give some love to a lot of the local music that's been happening in Glasgow at the moment, especially post-COVID. We've had a death metal renaissance, as it were, and I wanted to
Mm,
just kind of chat shit about it and promote it because genuinely it's some of the best stuff that I've heard in a while. Um, so it just kept kind of skyrocketing from there. I've had
mm.
like quite a few people on. I've had like Luke from Penny Coffin. I had Al from Coffin Mulch in an episode a few ones
Oh,
back,
nice.
which was a lot of fun. Um, so it was just kind of on a whim. I just decided, you know what, I want to do more to support these bands that I love outside of buying t-shirts and going to shows and stuff. So I thought, what better way to do it, as well as just kind of hang out, shoot the shit, keep it fairly casual, as well as answering the questions that people want to know, which is i.e.
Mm,
shows, music, blah blah blah, which we'll get on to
mm.
in a moment. But
Yeah, cool.
just kind of, why not? It's one of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things that if you think that you can do something, do it. You never know. And
yeah.
I've had a lot of people say a lot of really nice things, both online and even in real life. Like I've been at shows and people have went, "Are you that guy that does the interviews?" And I'm going, "Yeah, that's me,"
Yeah.
which I still think's hilarious. But yeah, no, absolutely. Turn the tables as much as you like. I've always found that I'm a lot better if like I bounce off someone else. I'm never
Mm.
one to like initiate a conversation because I'm incredibly socially awkward. Like even in real life, it's like even like you see your favorite band or something and then they're just hanging out at the bar, at the merch table. I've always been in that kind of eternal struggle of go up and say hi. No, they're busy. Go up and say hi. You know, that kind of
Mm.
thing. I've always struggled with that. I'm getting slowly better, but I suppose this is a way of kind of getting myself better at it, but it's also just mainly for just the love of music. It's something that I've been passionate about for ages, especially death metal, and especially the death metal that's been coming out of Glasgow and the UK as a whole. Because I know that you're good friends with prime example, the Brain Bath lads. Um, like they're brilliant, and I
Fucking
still
ace,
need to.
lads.
I do need to get them on the podcast. I've been speaking to Kendo about it, but that man's just constantly fucking busy and can never just lock something down. But I do want to. He's definitely on the list. Um, but yeah, kind of really long-winded answer to the question, but a good about 6 months or so.
He's a busy fella.
Oh, we I think the cams froze.
Yeah, yeah, it froze for a second. Man. All right, that was weird. Okay, you can still hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you. I think the picture's still frozen.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm moving around. No,
Oh, yep, yep. There we go. Yep, we're good.
okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know if it's like my computer that I'm using, this laptop. It's an old Mac. It's about 20 years old. Seriously, um, and the webcam is like a built-in one. And
Yeah.
looking at that little picture of me there, it makes me look like a long-haired Jeremy Clarkson. I'm really not happy with this. You know, I don't know if the computer's got its own built-in filter. I'm getting really pissed off. I need to buy a new one. I really do.
Hey, as long
But
as it
yeah,
works, it works.
yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing, you know. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the thing is, the mixing desk, if I move it even just slightly, it goes from stereo to mono,
Yeah.
and that's a pain in the ass. And also, a very loud noise, a high pitched noise, like, for example, opening a beer can, that will just totally fuck it up. It's weird. I need some new. Uh, well, I do have a new mixer, but it's sort of in my vinyl room,
Hmm.
um, which is where I record as well. And I sort of quite a big mixer, so I don't. It's not portable particularly. So,
Yeah.
and I've got it all set up in there to record vocals. And just because my wife and son are out today, I thought I'd sit here in the living room and record. And speaking of vinyl,
Mm.
um, I had a package today of more vinyl come through.
Oh, of course. That's what I was,
Yeah,
because you had posted that on
that's what.
Instagram, and I'm going, what's he got now?
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know if you'd like to know. I've got it right here.
Ooh.
Oh, if I can get to it. We've got we got the new Deep Purple album.
Mm.
I'm a Deep Purple fan, so quite like that.
Deep Purple. Yep.
There's an Amoebix bootleg.
Hmm.
I like Amoebix, but I mean the guy from the band went a bit fucking loopy a few years back. But yeah, some punk, Chaos UK.
Hmm.
I quite like me punk, and I quite like Chaos UK. They're fucking mental. And finally, a couple of Danish bands. Well, one Danish band actually. I got Merciful Fate
Oh, yes.
and Merciful Fate. Yeah.
Beautiful.
The reason I bought these two is because a friend of mine does an online show on a YouTube channel called the Accusation Network.
Hmm.
And it's sort of, he spoke about that album, the Don't Break the Oath, the Merciful Fate one. Now, I used to have a copy, but one of my exes used it as a frisbee out of a window one time, and she was pissed at
Oh,
me or something.
wow.
Yeah, I know. The original fucking vinyl as well.
Oh, that's even worse. That breaks my heart, honestly. Wow.
Yeah, and only and it's because I've been playing it sort of earlier that day. It was on the turntable, but
Hmm.
the cover was sort of off somewhere else. I managed to save that, but again, over the years, it's been lost with all moves and whatever. So I
Yeah.
had to watching this video from my friend Matt on his channel, the Accusation Network on YouTube. Go check it out, folks.
Hmm.
Yeah, he talks all about vinyl and stuff, and he mentioned the album, and I was like, okay, yeah, I've got to get that again. So immediately after I watched his show, I went to my computer and ordered like that. Well, that pile of vinyl you've seen there. Um, and I've since remembered because I tend to order vinyl when I'm drunk and forget that I've ordered it. And it's not until I get the invoice come through in my email that I think, oh shit, what have I done now? So I've also got about one, two, three, four, five. I've got about five, six other albums coming. So yeah, I'm sort of so if you keep hearing my phone going, it's alerts from the tracking app I've got. It's entered the country. So I'm rubbing
It's
my
nearly
hands in
here.
glee
It's
that
nearly
more
here.
vinyl comes.
I do want to
Yeah.
buy more vinyl, but I keep going to places and I keep seeing the price of vinyl. It's like upwards of 40 quid a record now, and I'm going, oh, my heart, it hurts. Because I've got just to let you.
40 quid!
Yeah, I was in HMV a little while ago.
40 quid!
Yeah,
Fuck
honestly,
off!
I know it hurts my
That's
heart.
outrageous.
It's
That is
insane.
outrageous. Holy shit! Because I mean, let's see, that Deep Purple album is a double,
Hmm.
and they both they play on you play 45 RPM on it, which I think is great. It's going to give it some really good sound. That one was 269 or 270 krona, okay, which works out to about 21 quid.
Wow.
So how come it 40 fucking quid for an album? Fuck
I don't
off.
I don't know, honestly, but it doesn't help that, like, at least in Scotland, there's not a lot of really good, like, places to get metal records. Like, there's a few independent record stores and stuff, but I've been to a bunch of them, and their metal selections are either terrible or just non-existent, and it upsets me. So naturally, you have to go to where the monopoly is. And I go down there, and their metal section in HMV is getting smaller and smaller. And I'm noticing records are going up to 30, 40, sometimes even 50 quid. And I'm going, I can't afford this. I want to buy these records because they are great records. Like the last records I bought were a bunch of, I think, old school death metal stuff. Like it was the first Exhumed record, I think the first Jungle Rot record, and I think the second or third Incantation album. And a lot of them were upwards of, I think, about 30 odd quid a record, which isn't too terrible. But I'm going down there and I'm seeing records upwards of 50 quid. And I'm going, how do you expect people to buy this? You know what I mean? It hurts because there's a lot of records that I think, oh, I really want that, especially because like I really like it when there's like limited pressings, like all the crazy colors and all the patterns and stuff. Like I've got a bunch of like Saxon records that are a bunch of limited pressings. I think a couple King Diamond records as well. Like I've got my favorite King Diamond record, The Eye, on this beautiful purple vinyl. And I don't remember what I paid for it, but I know it definitely wasn't fucking 40 quid. Like that shit
Mm,
can,
mm,
no, not a chance. I can't buy vinyl anymore. It upsets me to look at it, look at all these prices.
yeah.
But that actually, bringing up Danish kroner there, that brings up an interesting question. What made you want to move to Denmark permanently, and what are the biggest differences you've noticed, just I suppose in terms of general living between Denmark and the UK?
Well, I mean, have you seen my wife? Uh,
Hmm.
that's why I moved to Denmark. Right. This very beautiful woman, yeah, sort of captured my black heart, and I moved here because we actually talked about it. Do I move there or does she move here? And I wanted to move. I've
Hmm.
always had this wandering. Um, I don't want to say soul because I don't believe in souls, but that sort of thing, that feeling in me to travel.
Hmm.
Um, I did live in Chicago for a while in America. Didn't have a visa or anything. It was just like a temporary thing. That was fun. Um, and I was thinking about moving to America. Very glad I didn't. Um,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
very glad that I moved here
Hmm.
to Denmark. Um, I mean, for example, one big difference I see between Denmark and America is the healthcare system. In America, it would have cost me, both of my hips have been replaced here in Denmark. In America, it would have cost me at least $100,000 per hip. Here in Denmark, it cost me a couple of days off work, and that was it. Right. I don't understand how they can't sort of take on just a little bit of socialism and like everyone chips in and you've got boom free healthcare. In a
Yeah.
country that size, it would work, uh, but
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
but I think as well it goes down to saying that it would work. It goes down to individual states and who
Hmm.
controls things that way,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of bureaucracy. And I just don't think they can get out of the whole money um, system that they've got. Which is a shame for the people who were there. So anyway, let's not talk politics because I fucking hate politics.
Same.
Um, yeah, uh, but, but so sorry. No, you didn't hear me say that. Anyway,
It's all right, sir.
um, yeah, there's like that other guy's a fucking idiot. Oh fucking hell. Yeah, but no more of that. But yeah, Denmark, it's a great place to live. It really is a great place to live. I've always had a lot of good experiences here.
Hmm.
The people, the food, the culture. Um, it's healthier to be here. Really, it is healthier. And there's not much of a fast food culture. They have fast food places, but they're not that. You know,
Yeah.
there's not thousands of them. You know, there's one. We have one McDonald's in this whole area that I live in. And that's it. The rest of it is just for fast food. Yeah, sandwich places, whatever, pizza joints, the local ones, self-owned places,
That
small
just do food
businesses.
so much better as well.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, just around the corner from us here, there's a pizza place. It's run by these Italian guys, and they make the best pizzas in the fucking world. And we're actually having them tonight. We're having pizza
Ooh.
tonight when the family get back. So, because I'm doing this interview,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to cook, so I said, we'll just get pizza.
That sounds
We're
about
having
right.
that. And I cannot wait because I love their food. I absolutely love their food. They're called La Mela, Lamela. So if people
Lamella.
who are watching this, if you're in Copenhagen, look them up, go and see them. And it's just around the corner from my apartment. If you want to find out, we're on the ground floor and we look like Halloween in the window all year round.
Don't stalk Dave Ingram. Please don't do that. Don't do that. That's not cool. No, nobody do
No,
that.
it's okay. We have two dogs, and one of them is small and cute. She's over there right now, asleep on the sofa. And then there's the other one, who's a big black cocker spaniel, and she's a fucking idiot, and she hates everybody. She does not get on with other people besides us. So yeah, if you want to stalk me, it's fine. You've got to contend with the Cocker Spaniel, which I know that's really something I never thought I'd say when I woke up this morning. You have to contend with the Cocker Spaniel. Wow.
It just goes to show anything's possible in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I can definitely relate to dogs being fucking morons. I have two miniature Jack Russells just in the room over there. One is called Winnie. She's nearly 3 years old. Scout
Mm,
recently turned one, and both of them are dense as fuck. Honest to God. And they are the most easily triggered dogs on the planet because, like, I could have a dog bark at the end of the street, and next thing you know, they're going blah, 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 blah. And it's like,
hmm
Jesus Christ, it's the tiniest noise, and it just sets them off. It's, oh my God. But they are so cute, but they are so fucking stupid. But we didn't get these dogs because of their intelligence, because they're not.
mm,
They are severely lacking in that. But they're also giant babies. Like the worst thing that they're going to do is lick you to death. That's it. Or Scout will
Okay,
just
yeah.
run, or just Scout will just run away. She will just do
Mm,
that. She will run away and hide in the bed or something. But yeah, I suppose up next is the bit that everybody wants to know about, which is we've alluded to it in the last little while. Benediction is working on a new album. You've posted a video of a little snippet of you recording vocals. Um, Obviously
well,
you're not.
not recording vocals. All I was doing was going, oh,
Oh, yeah, he's doing
yeah.
his best Tom Gabriel Warrior impression. He's
Yeah.
shouting out Celtic Frost there. But so obviously that album's been in the works for a while. How does this
Yes.
album, with what you can tell me anyway, how does this album compare to Scriptures and everything that you've done previously?
It's equal or better. It
Equal
depends on
or
your point
better?
of view.
Hmm.
Yeah, it depends on your point of view. It is not worse than anything we've done before. If it was, we wouldn't put it out. That's the only way you can say these things. There's usually, because when an album's been put out, and the amount of times I get asked this question, and
Yeah.
it always gets right under my skin. I say, "So, are you happy with how the new album turned out?" And my response will always be, "Yes, you dickhead. You think I would have put it out otherwise?" Well, and I mean, you haven't asked that, and I appreciate that you didn't ask about that. But
Yeah, I try and keep away
obviously, the
from these
album
kind.
isn't out yet, so that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, yeah, we get these, we do get these odd questions now and again. That do, I mean, I'm an old man, so you know, I sort of I howl at the moon, and there's a
Mm.
little bit of a segue there to the new podcast that I'm doing called Old Men Howling at the Moon. It's me and my friend Pete, and we talk about things, how things were in the old days, and how they differ nowadays. Yeah, we did an episode on Star Wars. We've done an episode on video games and the arcade culture, and also renting home video stuff, and also on death metal, how it was, you know, to promote stuff back in the 90s and how it is today.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah. We're doing that sort of that podcast. There's a new one coming out. We've got a Halloween special as well with a bunch of guests. So it's good. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do. And also, Pete's sort of in the driving seat. I'm just sort of sitting there recording, and I don't have to sort of edit the show like I used to do with my own Metal Breakfast Radio stuff. It's all really, it's all Pete. I'm just sort of a passenger on that one, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate him doing all the work. Um, so now, so what were we saying about the new album, the new Benediction album? I can't tell you the title. I can't give you any song titles. Nothing's been released yet, besides the fact that we're recording. Although I did at one point give the album title out on my friend's show. Um, I said about Matt, the Accusation Network. He did an unboxing video from me where I sent him a bunch of vinyl as a gift, and he unboxed it and, on the show. He sort of videoed it doing it, and I sent him the title of the album. So go and check that episode out if you want to know what the album's called. There's a good thing to go and
There you
watch his
go. I'll
show.
have that linked
Um,
down below so you can subscribe to the
cool, mate.
accusation.
Nice one.
You can subscribe to the Accusation Network. That's the only way you will actually see the album title appear in the video is if you subscribe to the channel and you like the video. and you give Matt a big thumbs up from Dave Ingram and Sir Edward. That's the only way you will get the new Benediction album title.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
because
the it's
I wasn't supposed to say what it was, and I did, and then I found out I shouldn't. But it's out there now, so. But that's the only way you're going to find it. I can't say it again, so. But eventually we will put it out, yeah, and it won't be that long because right now it's being mixed. Scott Aikens is mixing the album. All the recordings finished. I think there might be a few solos to be put on, but Darren, the guitarist, he's there on Monday, and I think he's just finishing off tightening up certain solo-y parts, and then it's just waiting for the mix. I have a rough mix come through, and it's I mean it's a rough mix, so it doesn't sound as good as it's going to, but so far it sounds pretty good. So we're very happy at the moment. I think I'd say within 2 3 weeks we're going to have the final mix through. Then I've got to make sure that I've got all the lyrics right, and I can send the lyrics then on to Nuclear Blast Records and say, this is what you print. Uh, and Robert's your mother's brother, really. We're almost done with it. And the cover art is fantastic. It's from by the same guy that did Scriptures, and he's gone up a level on this one. Absolutely, he really nailed what I was asking for. Because he said, like, what about the lyrics? How can we sort of project the lyrics onto the cover? And I sort of gave him an idea, and he's added to it as well. He's put certain things in. He asked us, "Can I hide stuff on in the cover?"
Mhm.
Um, and I said yes, and here's a few things to put in, and he's done that, and he's sort of talked to the other guys, some of their stuff in there as well. Um, all I'll say is think Iron Maiden, Power Slave, but a death metal take on it, and not Pyramids, and not
and
Iron
not
Maiden.
Pyramids and not Iron Maiden.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that certainly gets me very excited because, I mean, I love Power Slave, brilliant album, and
Me too. It's my favorite. No, I think Peace of Mind is my favorite Maiden album.
I would be inclined to agree with that, as well as I do have a soft spot for Killers just because of how rough and ready it is. It's just no frills, no bullshit, just here's Iron Maiden. But
Yeah,
I would say Killers, Peace of Mind, and I don't know what my third one would be if I was supposed to do a top three of Iron Maiden records. Um,
Number of the Beast.
well,
Okay.
yeah, but everybody says Number of the Beast. I need to be cool and go against the grain and all that stuff. But I
Mm.
mean, I do love that album.
Also, the debute's excellent. It's a great album.
To be fair,
The
yeah,
first one. Yeah. It's got that. It's got a lot of underground charm that I like. It's got that sort of Cockney sound, the London sound, the
yeah,
Cockney. They're
definitely.
not Cockney. They're Cockney.
Fucking yeah. No,
Cockney.
it's a great album. To be fair, pretty much Iron Maiden, everything they've done, even the stuff that's shit, like compared to everything else, you can find usually little glimmers of stuff here and there that, like, and I will say that as much as people ride on the Paul Diano, not Paul Diano, fucking Blaze Bailey, there you go, because I know my stuff, kind of.
Mm.
The Blaze Bailey albums, as much people deride them, um, I will say though, Blaze Bailey's solo stuff. That's good, especially the stuff he's
Mm.
done lately, especially War Within Me. That is a fantastic album. Absolutely
Oh,
brilliant.
I'll have to check that out.
It's a lot
Well,
more
there was one
stripped to his
night I was
voice.
out in Birmingham. I was out in Birmingham one night with guys from Benediction, and we were in this bar. I can't remember what it was called. It was next to a club called Mr. Bill's.
Mhm.
Not the original Mr. Bill's, but a sort of a copy version of it. Anyway, we're in this bar outside of it with Blaze Bailey and chatting with Blaze, and he was really fucking drunk. Um, and I sort of talked over him because I was tall and his girlfriend was a little taller than him. And I looked at her and I started chatting. And he looked at me and says, "You talking to my girlfriend?" And he tried to stab me.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw him a couple of weeks later and said, "You know, you tried to stab me the other week," and he was apologising and like, it's no problem, mate. Those were the sort of crazy days that happened in Birmingham back then.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
was it was sort of he did carry a knife. He got a switchblade, I think, in his pocket. And I was saying to him, you do not want to carry that around with you anymore. You're going to get yourself into fucking trouble.
Definitely.
There was another time I saw him at a club, and they had this huge staircase that ran down, and the bouncer was walking down the staircase, dragging Blaze down the stairs by his foot, and he was just going boop, 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 down the stairs because he was throwing him out because he'd done something, and Blaze was just lying there. He had a beer, a pint on his chest, and he was just sort of looking at me, and he sort of waved as he went past, and then the bouncer threw him out, and I was like, "Fuck's sake, Blaze!"
That's
Uh,
an image right there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was rock and roll. That was absolutely rock and roll. He's a really nice guy. I mean, I know he tried to fucking stab me, but yeah, you know,
He's a
it
nice
was
guy. I
so
know he
clumsy.
tried to stab me, but he's a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah. Another phrase I never thought I'd say, but yeah, yeah. I mean, he was yeah. He's great, and I'm gonna have to check that album out. What was it called? The
War Within Me, it was called. That was
War
his.
Within Me. Right.
It's not the most recent album, although that album's solid as well. But the one just before that, and it's also like recently his backing band has became the band Absolva, which is kind of epic heavy metal, power metal hybrid. It features Luke Appleton of he was in Iced Earth, but then the whole thing with Iced Earth happened because politics suck. Um,
Yeah.
and he's done some bits here and there. He's got a bunch of solo stuff in the works as well. But he is a phenomenal musician, as is the entirety of the band Absolver, to the point where he's doing pretty much double sets now because Blaze Bayley, when he's doing his solo tours, will bring out Absolver as a support act. So Absolver are doing, I think, about half an hour, maybe 45-minute set, and then they're doing a full Blaze Bayley headline set. So can't knock how hard of a worker Luke and the gang
Mm,
are, honestly.
mm,
But since he started incorporating them not only as a live band but also as a studio band, I do think that his solo works have gotten a lot better and a lot more suited to his voice. So anybody out there that kind of has a bit of a bad taste in their mouth from Blaze Bayley doing those Maiden albums he done, genuinely give his solo work a shot. I mean, it's not
mm.
mind-blowingly revolutionary, but it's still just really good fucking heavy metal. And sometimes that's just all you need, just some really good fucking heavy metal, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. You said about Iced Earth. I remember like years ago when they were sort of touring around, and I was on tour with Bolt Thrower, and the sound man said, Bolt Thrower sound man, Andy, said that he thought Iced Earth sounds like an ice cream. Uh, would you like a flake and some sprinkles on your iced earth?
Hmm.
And I've always thought of ice cream whenever I think of Iced Earth. Yeah. Those English ice cream vans, those horrible
Yeah.
looking things with the chimes that go. Yeah, yeah. Every time I think of Iced Earth, I think of ice cream chimes. Uh, and I've never listened to their music. I've got to admit, I've never listened to it, and I don't want to now because I just won't be able to hear anything except ice creams.
That's hilarious. Their music is good, and then like they've not put out an album in like 7 years, but that's because the band kind of imploded because their founding member did something he was not supposed to do and got
Oh, I
arrested.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then like their guitarist quit and then their vocalist quit, Stu Block, who is an incredible vocalist. He's honestly one of my favorites when it comes to both singing and screaming. He's got such an incredible range. He can do these full-on like King Diamond falsettos, as well as like
Hmm.
Tom Araya Slayer screams. Man's got range, and I feel so bad that he got kind of taken to the grave with everything that happened with Iced Earth. But I know that he's
Yeah,
recently joined forces with Annihilator because I think just Dave Waters got sick of doing vocals and guitar, so he's recruited Stu Block. So hopefully we hear some new music with them because it's been a while since we've had any new music from Annihilator, who are also fucking brilliant. But yeah, kind of weird, kind of tangent there, as I like to do in these.
yeah. No worries.
It's
No,
all about the
it's
conversation and
always
stuff. It makes
yeah,
it more
exactly,
interesting.
exactly.
And again, we wouldn't have heard about Blaze Bayley stabbing the vocalist of Benediction without these
Well,
tangents, which
exactly.
it's definitely one of the weirdest stories that I've heard, not just through this podcast, but in my life as a whole. That kind of, because I thought that story when you were first telling it, it was going to go somewhere. Oh, it was going to be nice and sweet and stuff, and then you just turn and go, he tried to stab me, and I'm going, okay, I did not expect that to happen. But just the kind of
Well,
tie,
neither did I at the time.
it's incredible. The
But
art of
anyway,
human conversation.
shit happens. It's rock and roll. It was just a fun, seriously a fun night in Birmingham, and I remember that vividly. And there was another night I was at the same bar with Danny Filth
Mhm.
because Cradle of Filth came to Birmingham to record the Dusk and Her Embrace album, and they were recording it, and it was sort of their obviously their early days, and they didn't have a lot of money,
Mhm.
so like, we would take them out, Benediction, we would take them out, get them drunk. And I think they overran the studio time by about 2, maybe 3 weeks because Benediction kept getting them pissed. And then there was one night I was out with Danny, and a punk song came on, and I grabbed hold of him, and we started to pogo. And he was almost, I won't say in tears or crying, but he was like, "No, please don't stop." And I'm trying to pogo with him, and he just wouldn't. But obviously, I mean, I'm this tall, and Danny's about that tall,
That's true.
So
He is very short.
he's a small guy, but yeah. So yeah, good memories. Things that happen, things that you do, and there's so much stuff that you can say about on when you're on tour. Just recently, actually, I was talking with a band called Hippie Death Cult.
Mhm.
I'm friends with them. They're a great band, very very cool band. And we were sort of, I say friends, we're acquaintances. We chatted online.
Yeah.
Um, and they were on tour, doing a long tour around America, and they just got close to the end, and they've been doing pranks on the other band that they tour with, and I wrote to them saying about the pranks that Benediction and Bolt Thrower did in '92, and I said, oh, we smeared butter all over the windscreen when we stopped at traffic lights because they had an RV, we had an RV. And they had to sort of pull over and scrape the butter off and wash it down, shit like that. So what Hippie Death Club did is they smeared butter all over the other band, Cadabra, their van, and then put like cling film, the plastic wrap, all around it, and then so that they couldn't get in easily. Oh, sorry, my phone's going off. It's the wife. I'll have to look at that in a sec. But anyway, they smeared butter on the handles of the doors so they couldn't open the doors easily. So, and it was like due to the story I related, and they sort of took the prank level further up. So it's rock and roll. You just do stupid shit.
It's
And
what
now that I've
keeps
told that story,
the.
I'm just going to have a look. I'm just going to have a look at this message that my wife sent.
Yeah, that's no problem. We'll
Okay,
start
they're going to be
wrapping it up
home.
and stuff.
Yeah, we should start wrapping up. They're going to be home in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's no problem. We'll start wrapping things up here. I'll just do another couple questions and then we'll start wrapping things up.
Sure.
So obviously you've been in the scene for quite a while. Have there been any new, not even just death metal bands or metal bands in general, but have there been any, I suppose, newer artists that have kind of pricked your ears a bit and you're going, I quite like what they're doing. The kids are all right, that kind of thing.
Sorry, that's my phone again.
It's all right.
Yeah, there's been a few death metal bands like Raised by Owls. I don't know if you know those guys.
I do indeed.
Uh, yeah, they're very cool. Brain Bath, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, uh, yeah, uh, good friends with those. And there's a band from I think that's from Sweden called Entrails. Quite like those. But most of the newer death metal, I don't listen to a lot of the newer stuff because it just tends to sort of pass me by,
Hmm.
and not because it's bad. No reason at all. It's just me. I'm getting older, and my tastes. I'm not listening to, like I said, like Deep Purple. I showed you that Deep Purple album and the old punk, and I'm going back to my old stuff. I listen to all the old school stuff that I used to listen to. I still listen to that. Those death metal bands, Immolation, Carcass, obviously Bolt Thrower,
Hmm.
and Merciful Fate and stuff like that with the vinyl level. But then there's, yeah, I listen to a lot of desert rock and Queens of the Stone Age, the Caius, that sort of thing. It's more me these days.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I'm actually doing a band called Sand Cadaver. It's a new band I've got going on. Writing the album right now. It's sort of doomy desert rock,
Ooh.
lyrically desert rock, musically doom. Um, and it's with Peter I can't pronounce. He's from Sweden, but I can't pronounce his last name. And also on drums is Gio from Benediction. So
I
we
do
got
love
that.
me some Doom.
Working on that. Yeah,
I'm looking
working on
forward to
that
that.
right now. We're I can't remember what was the album title going to be. I think it was The Coyote Who Called to the Dead. I think that was the album title. So it's something like that. It's been so long since I've actually worked on that particular song because I had all the lyrics written and then I lost them like a fucking idiot. They were on my laptop. I didn't keep hard copies. And my laptop crashed and I had to sort of reboot stuff and it had gone. And I thought I'd saved it on an external hard drive, but apparently I hadn't. So I had to do it all over again. So I haven't got around to that yet. But that's what's coming. There's that. There's a new Hellfrost and Fire. There's a new Stygian Dark, a new Echelon, and a new Down Among the Dead Man. So I'm pretty busy. But my main focus is obviously Benediction. And that's why I haven't sort of released anything else because I've been focusing on Benediction the most. I want to make sure that this is 100% perfect for me in my mind before I start on anything else.
Yeah, I can completely understand that, and I have every faith that it is going to be an incredible album, as is everything else that you've just announced, which even in my brain, I'm going, my God, this man's busy. It makes me even more grateful that you've taken the time out to chat to me. It is insane to hear the amount of stuff that you're working on. But yeah, we'll just because I know that obviously the fam's coming home soon, so we'll just kind of outro it, wrap everything up in a nice, neat little bow. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, do the whole internet thing, which makes me sound fucking old going, do the internet thing. But yeah, I will have everything Benediction linked down below. I'll have Dave's Instagram. I'll have the Benediction Instagram, the Benediction Big Cartel. Make sure you go and buy yourself a lovely little t-shirt or a hoodie because it's getting cold and you want to make sure that you're all wrapped up nice and warm while supporting somebody absolutely incredible. Keep an eye out for the new Benediction album coming at some point in the future, as well as everything else that this man's got going on. He's an incredibly busy lad. And yeah, just thank you everybody for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Adios.